So let's talk about a little show
Mm-hmm.
that we watched on Prime Video.
Ooh.
It's on Prime.
Yeah.
Came out, and universally everyone
Hated
I
it?
don't know,
Oh, loved it.
loved it.
Okay.
And that is, of course, Fallout.
Fallout. I've heard of it.
Fallout, the series.
Yep.
Which could have gone one of two ways.
Good or bad?
Good or bad.
Wow.
Right?
Black or white?
Black or
No
white, good or
gray?
bad.
It
Yeah.
couldn't be okay.
There's no gray. It was either going to be
Okay.
amazing or awful.
Okay. I had high hopes, but then I had low hopes when it was like, oh, we're going to release all 8 episodes on the same day. I was like, oh, that's a bad sign. But it was a fine sign.
Yeah.
I don't know why they do that. I don't understand. There must be market research that they get more watch time if they release it all at once rather than one a week.
Yeah.
Because you'd think you'd want people to come back for 8 weeks to watch your show. Just even for subscriptions, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyways, they must have the research that says like, no, it works better to just do it all at once. So
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's good.
yeah, I liked it.
I
fine.
liked it. Yeah, for sure.
The Wiener Boy quotient was very low for this show, surprisingly.
Yeah, I didn't hear anything negative or see anything about
Well,
like.
I've heard people
That.
complaining recently because they screwed up some lore stuff in it, apparently. Like the timeline doesn't match up exactly to the games.
Mhm.
Like the dates are wrong or something like that.
Yeah, there was some stuff involving the timeline where I was like, wait a minute.
I didn't notice
Something
anything.
doesn't make sense here.
I didn't notice anything like that they said. It was more like what I heard was like when she's in like the vault and she's looking at the dates of
Mhm.
on the whiteboard, they don't line up to what was established. But the thing too is like, okay, even if it doesn't line up to what's established, like there could have been reporting errors on what they've written on the whiteboard
Yeah.
because like they're like there's no civilization left.
Yeah.
Like if they think like, oh yeah, the bombs dropped in 2177, but it was in the game, it was 2176. It's like, okay, well they don't
Yeah.
know what fucking year it is. Like it's no
Yeah, I
big
think
deal.
The thing that threw me off was it was the bombing, right?
Mm-hmm.
The OG bombing.
Mhm.
And then there was the second bombing,
Mhm.
but that was just Shady Sands.
Yes.
So that threw me off because they didn't.
Well, the
When-
way they
Because
implied it,
Maximus,
yeah.
when he was born, that was his bombing.
yeah,
So when they were talking about it like that, I was like, what?
yeah, he said like, oh, the bombs fell when I was a kid, and
Yeah.
she's like, what are you talking
Yeah, I
about?
know. I was like, what are you talking about?
Yeah,
But yeah, it's because he didn't know because that's
Exactly.
when he was born. That's
Exactly.
when the bombs fell.
yeah,
So it wasn't super clear on that, but they did make it clear. By
yeah.
the
I
end.
think that was intentional, just
Yeah,
to
probably,
cause like
yeah.
confusion with the characters because she's still naive about being in the vault and all that
Mhm.
stuff, and he's in the real world, so he like wouldn't even think like the bombing 300 years ago or whatever it was,
Yeah.
150 years ago. That's nothing to him, right? So, yeah, it
And
was,
her, who's the actor that played her brother?
oh, I don't know, but he was on Hannah Montana or something like that.
I'm
yeah.
like, you're like 13 going on like 45. Like, what is happening here?
He's just really short.
Yeah, really short, and he's supposed to be to play like her younger brother. I'm like, you look
Yeah,
like
he's.
you're 30.
I think he's older than her IRL,
Yeah.
probably. But yes, he's supposed to be. I think he's supposed to be like similar age to her. He's not supposed to be like a 13-year-old kid. Obviously.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
got,
of
like,
course,
$5
yeah.
shadow. I think he's just supposed to be like a Wienerly Vault guy that is brave in spite of being a Wienerly Vault guy. you
Yeah.
know? So I thought the multiple storylines were interesting for all the characters.
Mhm.
Like, Maximus was interesting. Lucy's interesting. Her brother's interesting. The ghoul is interesting.
Yeah.
Like, I thought they all worked well. There wasn't one where I was like, oh, we're back to this guy again. Because some shows, it'll be like, oh, okay, we don't need to know the backstory of like the bartender or whatever,
Yeah.
So, I wasn't even like, I'm not going to talk about DSP, but this is just he did a review of it,
Mm-hmm.
and I saw a bit of it, and he was saying how people were complaining about the show was too woke, and I was like,
What?
I was like, first of all, I never heard that it was too woke, and then I was like, what part is woke in this show?
Yeah, right.
So his examples were an interracial couple, which I was like, because like Maximus and Lucy kissed, I guess.
yeah.
he's like saying people were complaining about it.
Or,
And then he's like,
or the the ghoul
yeah,
before he died
Mhm.
and his wife.
oh yeah, them too.
Yeah.
But then it was also, there's a trans character on the show, and I was like, there's a trans character on the show? Huh? What?
Who?
And I was like, who? And then in the last episode, I was like, oh, Maximus's little friend that injured themselves intentionally. But I didn't even think that was like a trans character. I just thought it was a girl pretending to be a boy because she wanted to be in the Brotherhood.
I just thought it was a
Effeminate dude?
well, no, I knew it was a girl.
Yeah.
She was a girl.
Yeah.
Or whatever they identify
Yeah,
as,
yeah.
right? But yeah, we're like, oh, okay.
I just assumed it was like a girl that was like, you know, like Joan of Arc pretended to be a dude.
Yeah.
Like that's what I kind of thought it was. So anyways. And
I didn't think they were pretending to be a dude.
well, they never said anything
no,
about it.
they
either.
definitely didn't. There was not a lot of backstory.
I never even thought
on
about
them.
it because I also think DSP's an idiot. So he probably was just making this up because he
Yeah.
likes to rant about stuff anyways. But then like in the last episode, I was like, oh, that's who he was talking about. Because when that character first appeared on the screen, I just was like, oh, that's someone pretending to be a guy to be in the Brotherhood because it's the Brotherhood.
Oh yeah,
It's
it
not
is
the
the
sisterhood.
Brotherhood.
So I'm like, oh, it's just a girl pretending to be a guy. I never
Mhm.
even thought like, oh, that's supposed to be like a trans character. Like the Brotherhood would be like, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So anyways, there was some stuff like everything, like anything that I thought of the lore of Fallout was fine in this. Everything was fine for me, basically.
I don't know like the deep lore and the deep backstories.
Well, I mean,
and
I
all
don't
that.
either, but there's nothing that when they had the robots or anything where I'd be
Yeah.
like, no, that's not what it would be Fallout, you know?
Yeah, everything. Like, because I've only played Fallout 3 seriously, right?
Uh-huh.
But it was such a good game that it was one of the few games that I played and actually finished.
Yeah.
It had a storyline and gameplay mechanics that it was just
New
like
Vegas then, dude.
I did play New Vegas, but I didn't get all the way through.
Okay.
I think that might have just been a time thing.
Yeah.
But everything watching this show and my deep love of that game,
Mm-hmm.
I was like, everything feels as it should.
So I will say that the show also made me think more of the original two games. I've only had limited time playing them,
Mm-hmm.
but some of the things that happen in the original games don't happen in the new games. Like, for example, in Fallout 3 and 4, there's nothing ever really overtly sexual that I can think of. Whereas in this show, he's like, do you want to make my cock explode? And then there's also the nudity with the cult or whatever.
Yeah.
But that made me think back to like the original two games, like Fallout 1 and 2, where
Mhm.
there's like one you become a porn star in one of them. You have to choose your porno name. So I was a female character. My porno name was Courtney Cock Sleeves. And there's also like a boxing. No, you can get a girl who she becomes your ally, but only if you degrade her, kind of, or talk to her very sexual. No, wait, how
Mhm.
does it work? She looks like she's a total slut, but you have to be like totally pure and wholesome to her.
Mm-hmm.
Then she'll join you. But she's like overly sexual in the game. It's been so long, so it's very hard to remember.
Yeah.
But also like you could just give all your drugs to your companions and just set them to just do drugs the whole game. So like I'd be like in any fight, I'd be fighting and then my companion would just be doing drugs continually, even when it's not like a real fight. Like there's a thing where you become a boxer and you're in a boxing match in the ring,
Uh-huh.
and you'll be like, do your swing, and in the crowd she's just shooting up Jet the whole time. So that kind of reminded me of the old school Fallout, which
Yeah.
you don't really see anymore.
No.
I mean, you do drugs in Fallout and Jet and all that stuff, but there's none of that really over the top sexual stuff.
Mhm.
They're swearing, they say fuck you and stuff like that. But when I saw like, you know, he's like, do you want to make my cock explode now? I was like, wow, this really reminds me of old Fallout.
Yeah, they establish. It's nice because they established early on that, you know, nobody's safe. No character is safe.
Yeah.
Anyone could die at any moment.
I didn't think any of the ones were gonna die, like Lucy,
I didn't
Maximus,
think. Yeah, not Lucy.
the ghoul, or her brother. I didn't think they were gonna die.
Her brother. I didn't have any. He might have for me. I don't know.
I understand when they start doing flashbacks to him in the vault, it's like, okay, there's something going on here.
Yeah.
There's going to be story throughout the season for this kid. But anyone else that gets added in, it's like, okay, they could die at any time.
Yeah. Whenever the new overseer would be like, you're a so and so, your words have weight.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was like, oh, all these prisoners are gonna get poisoned.
Oh yeah.
And they're all gonna die.
Yeah, yeah.
And then
Yeah, exactly.
strange. I thought it was fairly predictable throughout the thing, but still very enjoyable.
I mean, I don't know if I'd say it was predictable, but yeah, I enjoyed it. I liked how they showed stuff from the games in the show. Like when he's hacking the computer, it's like literally the hack screen from the Fallout game. They don't show him figuring it out. They just show him looking at it and being like, oh yeah, this is the answer, which is not really how hacking works in Fallout. But.
No. I think the first couple episodes, they really focus in, like whenever there's a bobblehead, they'll focus in on it and be like, and Lucy will be like, huh.
Yeah.
But later on, they don't, there's not a lot of bobbleheads. I was like, oh, that was kind of cool.
I think that was just to show like she was so keyed up on looking for like vault stuff,
Yeah.
she would notice it. Whereas later it's just like she's out of the vault. So
it would have been cool. I didn't really look very hard, but it would be cool if in the further episodes scenes, you just find bobbleheads.
I wouldn't be surprised if they're there.
Yeah.
Actually, the one thing I don't know if I missed him, but I never saw Todd Howard in it, which is surprising to me.
Yeah.
I would have expected him to have just had a bit part or something like that, or said something. He is a terrible actor though. Like he did voices of a character in Oblivion and it is atrociously bad. But he is, maybe he's an extra in the background or something that I didn't see.
Mm-hmm.
I would recognize him if I saw him, assuming he wasn't wearing makeup or anything like that. Even Maximus's little buddy there, Atticus, is that his name?
I don't
when
know.
he gets shot in the neck with an
arrow.
Yeah. He's pretty funny.
Yeah.
His Instagram, I guess his real name is Johnny Pemberton, but when I first saw it, it was like on Instagram and his account was just called Johnny Pemberton. I'm like, is this guy from Pemberton? No, that's his
actual last name.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked how they had Matthew Berry as the voice of Codsworth. That was fun.
Mm-hmm.
He's always good to see. And then what's his name? Fred Armisen is the radio DJ guy. Oh, Thaddeus is his name. Yeah, not Atticus.
Yeah.
Yeah, Fred Armisen is the radio DJ guy. It was interesting, especially when they're talking about like, hey, nice traps you've laid out here. Very imaginative. And then, the only predictable thing I thought was when she finally got to where Moldova, what's her name? I don't know. Where she's rescuing her dad.
Maldave?
Yeah. Something like
whatever,
that.
Yeah.
And she goes in, her dad's there, and she's there, and there's a ghoul.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh, that's her mom, obviously. Obviously, that's her mom.
That's the only part I didn't predict.
Yeah. That was the only one where I was really like, oh, obviously that's her mom.
Mm-hmm.
And I did think it was a little weird that somehow they just turned on fission and then every light just...
Yeah, right.
Every light switch happened to be turned on with a fresh bulb.
Yeah, I also found that to be weird.
Yeah.
Like, we were actually talking about that while watching. I'm like, how is this working?
Yeah.
All the lines are still up? Like,
yeah,
what the
exactly.
hell?
No, like fiend tore the copper wiring out. Like, come on.
Yeah.
And I think at the end it showed her dad going to New Vegas.
Oh.
I think that was supposed to be New Vegas. I'm not
Okay.
sure. I didn't really Google it up to see what people are saying, but I think that was supposed to be New Vegas.
Vault-Tec HQ in New Vegas?
I don't know if Vault-Tec HQ was there, but it looked like New Vegas to me. Anyways, I don't know.
I liked it when her brother went to Vault 31.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like,
oh yeah, the
what's
Robco brain.
Yeah, what's his face is just there.
Ben.
He's like, oh, management.
Yeah,
We're doing this thing.
Ben. What did he call this?
Barry?
No, he said they were like Ben's buds or something like that.
Oh yeah, like Barry's buds or something.
Yeah, something
Ben's
like that.
buds.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, we're implementing this new management strategy.
And if I would have been paying more attention to it, I would have figured out like that her dad, Lucy's dad, was the one she was working with in the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like I would have been like Hank and Henry. Oh, that's like the same name. Like Hank is like
Yeah.
short version of Henry. But I wasn't paying enough attention because then when
Yeah, no,
they were
I didn't
like,
put that
"Here,
together either.
You want to meet?" And then it was like, oh,
Yeah, as soon as he
okay.
met, I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Yeah. But how are they staying alive? That's the other thing we don't really know. How are they so young?
They're frozen in time.
They're ghouls, but not ghoulish.
I don't think they're ghouls. I think they've been they were in stasis.
Oh, and they got thawed out.
Yeah, and every time there's a new overseer needs to happen, they get thawed out. Overseer goes in, takes over Vault 32.
Oh, see, I wasn't paying enough attention because I thought those guys were like being grown there, not that they were frozen.
No, they were like when the
Okay.
bombs, they went in for
Yeah.
stasis when the bombs were frozen, and somehow Bud's buried brain
Yeah,
was
yeah.
just in a jar.
Yeah, I mean that's there are those in Fallout. So.
Yeah, and he got jarified to oversee
Yeah.
the project,
Yeah.
and then whenever a new overseer needs to happen, gets thawed for Vault 31,
Okay.
goes in.
I see. Yeah, I thought they were growing them. I don't know why. I guess I wasn't paying enough attention at that point.
Could be. Could be.
But yeah, I liked it a lot. It was
Yeah,
good.
it was really good.
Nice and violent.
Extremely violent.
Yeah, like shockingly violent almost.
Yeah.
Like you think of think of the Last of Us adaptation. They didn't really show anything gratuitous, really.
No.
The zombies were gross and everything like that,
Mhm.
but you never saw anyone's head getting crushed or
No.
exploded or anything like that. Not that I remember, anyways.
The part that was great was when Lucy bit the ghoul's thumb off,
Oh yeah.
and then he's just like, or
Yeah.
finger off, then he's just like saws her finger
Yeah,
off.
yeah.
Like, holy
Now
Christ.
she has a brown finger all
Yeah.
the time. That was a bit weird too, where she gets sold to the Codsworth or Snip or whatever they
Yeah.
called the robot. And he's like, let's fix you up here, and puts a new finger on her. And then it's like, well, we're going to harvest your organs. And it was like, well, why did you put your new finger on there?
know.
I mean, I know why. It's because she has to have a finger for the rest of the show.
Yeah.
But it's also like
He's
a
just
waste.
he's just a wacky malfunctioning medical robot.
Yeah. Exactly. So,
But you need to harvest them organs so you can make more of the hiss juice,
yeah.
the juice, so you can stay ghoulish longer.
Yeah. Not turn into a feral ghoul.
Yeah.
I don't remember. And we never did actually see a super mutant.
No, we see an arm, I think, of
Yeah,
one.
I think that's about the closest we
We
got.
see an arm of a super mutant and the skull of a Deathclaw.
Yes.
That's it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no Deathclaw. Just a Yao Guai and a Mirelurk. Was it a
Mhm.
Mirelurk? I don't even know if it was a Mirelurk. I don't think it was.
They do say something about Mirelurks. I think it was a Mirelurk.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was
Good
good.
show. Extremely good. Highly recommend anybody out
Season
there watch
2
it.
is coming. They've said yes.
Nice. I mean, that's such a big success, that one.
I
I
know.
feel.
Yeah, and it's also driven like so many people to go back and play Fallout 4,
76 even.
Fallout 76. Yeah,
I know. My friends list
opportunity.
is full of people playing Fallout 4 right now.
Yeah, it's a missed opportunity for them to have not had like another Fallout game. at
Oh
this
yeah,
time,
if they had Fallout 5 launch at the exact same time, or any a new Fallout of sorts,
but yeah,
that would have been huge.
yeah, exactly.
They would have the show would have come out and you would have watched it, and then all of a sudden they would have been like, and here's Fallout 5.
Yeah,
Ah!
They haven't
Everyone
even
would have
s-
lost their
they haven't even
minds.
started Fallout 5 yet. Imagine if they're working on Fallout 5 when they should be working on friggin' Elder Scrolls. I don't know what's going on with these games nowadays, but between like Elder Scrolls 1 and Oblivion, they were coming out like every 2 years.
Mhm.
And it's been like 10 years since the last Elder Scrolls game.
And now it's like, oh, we'll just release it on everything and then remaster it. And release
Yeah,
it on
exactly.
everything.
Well, that's what they did with Fallout. They had a new next gen patch that came out to like, bring it on to the new consoles or whatever, and it improved, FPS and whatnot, but it also broke a lot of stuff. Like a lot of the mods and stuff didn't work with it and stuff like that. And they didn't tell anybody they were doing this, so all these mod makers are all pissed off that they didn't have any, they weren't given any knowledge so they could work on it. It's like, well, sorry.
Yeah.
If they tell everybody they're working on a next gen update, that'll like get leaked and everyone will know and blah blah blah. So, anyways,